What is up, Pyromaniacs? Pyrostasis here, and we are back in the world of Escape from Tarkov. This is a game I haven't taken a look at in about a year, and I will say my last impressions of the game weren't really all that positive, and that was just because of the early stage of beta testing that was in. And, you know, in all honesty, alpha games and early beta testing games frequently aren't a lot of fun because they are rough around the edges. You know, it's kind of like sticking your finger in mom's cookie dough and before she's added the sugar, and, you know, it's not going to be a very pleasant experience. So they've added a lot more to the game. They refined a lot of the mechanics that I had problems with previously. And in my opinion right now, the game's actually pretty damn good, and I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes kind of from here. But this video is basically going to be an update on my first impressions with a combination of kind of, if you're new to Tarkov, this is your first, you know, week or 2 weeks getting into the game, just showing you the basics, some of the stuff to think about, some of the stuff to do, not do, look at, etc., etc. And we'll just kind of go over everything. This video is going to be a little bit long. It's going to be a little bit in depth. So if you're looking for a quick guide, it's like bam, 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 this is probably not the right place for you. If you're looking for something that's going to cover pretty much all of the basics with a few possible advanced things, then this is definitely a place. So first off, one of the big things about Escape from Tarkov is it is it's a game that's currently in closed beta, but it goes open beta, I believe, in 2 days. So depending on, you know, what time you're watching this video, some of the information may change. Keep that in mind. So right now you have to purchase to get into the game. I think next week that changes. And there are several different packages. The main differences between the packages are what items you start with and the size of your stash. Now I am a YouTuber slash streamer, so I get some special perks that the average person won't get. So your stash will definitely not look like this. Mine does. So keep that in mind. You know, don't expect to log in for this. Now, if you get one of the smaller packages, you may have a smaller inventory size as your inventory size, or as you pay more money, your inventory size grows. Now, some of you are gonna be like, well, hey, isn't that pay to win, Pyro? Don't that give you an unfair advantage? Well, yes and no. If they were gonna leave it that way, I would agree with you to an extent. I wouldn't say it's pay to win. It's more like pay to convenience. But that's, you know, we're splitting hairs at that point. Yes, if you pay more money, you get some form of an advantage. However, they are working on a mechanic, and keep in mind, this is beta. This is not release. This is still in progress. Sorry, I'm still getting over a cold. And they're going to add ways for you to in-game increase your inventory space. Not only that, but there are things like these cases right here. You know, this case takes up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 slots, right? When we open this case up, there's a lot more slots in here. So you get one of these cases and it allows you to drastically increase your inventory. There's also things similar for this, like wallets and money cases and safes and stuff like that you can get that will increase your ability to store cash. So there's stuff like that that can help out. And like I said, in a couple weeks, months, I don't know how long, they are talking about giving you the ability to increase your stash in game. So this is a temporary issue. It's not a permanent issue. If that's something that turns you off, and that's going to piss you off and frustrate you, then you might want to hold off. And I will agree that the inventory system at the current time does leave a lot to be desired, mainly because there's no auto sort feature. Mine right now is fairly organized, not really from any, you know, on my end, mainly from their end. This is more or less how they gave it to me. Plus, all of these crates definitely help out. So getting these crates, definitely something that's nice. Now, the problem with those crates is you're not gonna be able to get those crates right off the bat. So let's talk about the other aspect of the game before we go back into character. So the game in the future will have a flea market and auctions. We're not quite sure how those are going to work, but for right now you have the merchants. You have skier, peacekeeper, ignore these names. Everybody goes by these names: the fence, prepper, and the therapist. Who are these guys? What do they do? Why do you care about them? Well, first off, therapist is going to be your medical supply person for the most part. There are a few exceptions. She's going to hook you up with, you know, your meds, your painkillers, maps, waters, braces, etc., etc. And as you level her up, a lot more stuff. The exception to that, I believe, is peacekeeper. Starting off the back, he can sell you IFAKs, which are superior to her AI tubes. So use those instead, and these things will keep you up. So these merchants right here, they are part of the progression system in the game. And what I mean by that is, as you progress in the game, you were going to be buying and selling from these merchants. You know, last night I did a run and I got 2 SKSs. Now, neither of these SKSs are perfect right off the bat. They're both firearms. They'll both work. They'll do their job. One is an OP SKS, which I don't quite understand why, and one is the basic version. Now, oddly enough, you're going to notice the basic version actually sells more. From my understanding, this is the one that you can mount a lot of scopes and things like that on, or at least you could last phase of beta. I haven't gotten into the modding of the SKS yet, but this was the one that you could tweak, and this one you really couldn't put much sights on, or at least I couldn't figure out how to get sights on. That may not be correct. But they're basically 2 different versions of the exact same weapon, but the prices, at least to skier, are different. So anyways, if I got these 2 weapons and I decided I didn't want them, I could sell them to him. Now, I'm not going to sell these now because I am wanting to keep these, but we are going to sell these 9mm rounds because I've decided last night after a little incident, I'm not a huge fan of 9mm anymore.
I'm taking shots behind.
I'm behind you, Pyro.
1 hit. 2
I'm
hit.
prone right now.
One's down.
Are
you kidding me?
4.
What?
Who's still
Somebody
alive?
clip that. Oh. Now we're going to get into why that happened here in a minute. But needless to say, I'm not a 9mm jockey anymore. All right, we're going to get rid of this stuff. Now, looking up here, you can see I've spent 153,000. That's not entirely accurate. And the reason why is if we click this, you can notice that went up a little bit. Well, every time you sell to one of these merchants or buy from one of these merchants, this number increases. Now, once this number hits 400,000 and I'm level 10, then I unlock the next tier, level 10 or greater. Then I unlock the next tier, which will be this right here, and I will get more stuff that I have access to. Now, that little video I showed you a minute ago where my head was getting chromed on, and I hope I remember to put that in there. That is one of the big things in this game, and that's armor level and equipment and gear. Now, the armor that was in that, I don't think I still have a piece of it. Does he have one? Sometimes this guy is the one that everybody goes and sells to, and you can kind of get some stuff here. It doesn't look like he does. The gear on this guy can change at any given time. All right, so right here you can see this is light bulletproof vest of the 2nd class of protection used by private security companies, collection services. Now this right here is class 2 armor. It's going to stop a lot. Now those 9mm bullets I just sold, one branch of them was class 3 penetration. And what that basically means is it'll go through this like it's butter. But the step up from this, not so much. Or the step beyond that, not so much. Now fort armor and the new helmets, which sadly I don't know the name of, beyond Kiver. Not the Kiver helmets, but the other helmets. And sadly, I've lost all the helmets that I had, so I don't have, yeah, I don't have any armor to show you guys. It looks like a Halo helmet, basically. 9mm just can't penetrate it. That little video right there, I dumped, I think it was 15 rounds into his head and did 0 damage to his head. Then I started strafing this portion of his armor right here on the rib side, which is usually the weakest portion of armor for defensive purposes. You know, the front's good, the back's good, but the side's usually kind of weaker. So shredded him on the weaks there. Now I didn't kill him, obviously, because it's 9mm, and fort armor is pretty much top end armor you can get, so it's going to stop most things. But it did hurt him. Helmet, he can shrug that off all day long. So keep that in mind when you're playing this game. You know, when you are going in, the bullets that you're using, the ammo type is going to depend on how well you can fight. So keep that in mind. You know, if you go up against an opponent, it's like, oh my god, dude, I shot him like in the fucking chest like 25 times and he didn't die. Oh my god. Well, yeah, you were using a 9mm round and he's got, you know, top end armor. You're not going to touch him. You don't have to use 9mm. There's plenty of weapons available to you right off the bat that are going to pierce that. So keep that in mind. Now, as you progress through the game, you're going to learn, oh, okay, that's, you know, a Kiver helmet. That's, you know, the new top tier helmets. I can't breach those with this ammo type. In those situations, one of the few first-person shooters that you're going to get into, you're going to want to aim for the legs or arms or, you know, the side profile, any of those spots. You can kill somebody in this by blowing their legs off. I mean, you're not going to blow it off, but you're going to blow it off without blowing it off. Does that make sense? Like, there's no animation for severing somebody's legs at the knees, as cool as that would be. So, but you can shoot somebody in the legs. It will slow them down. It's not going to do, you know, as much damage as a headshot would, but, you know, you dump a couple of mags into somebody's legs, they're going to be fucked up. You can probably kill them too. So that would be your option if you only have a 9mm weapon. That being said, come here, you know, buy yourself, you know, a Vapor, buy yourself an SKS, and go for those headshots, because those rounds are probably going to pierce. Now, if you're curious if it's going to, you can look right here and you can see, all right, this is going to be traveling at 754 meters a second. That's about, what, 2,100 feet and change. And you can see this is intended for shooting. Semi-auto carbines is used for sport and hunting. No armor piercing here. So this round is going to have a hard time going through certain armors. This is 5.4. Same thing. These are basically target practice and they're garbage. Now, let's see. Let's check this guy. What does he got for us? And he's only got the M4 variant. So yeah, initially you may have some hard times with ammo. I believe you can get some armor piercing variants from Prapor though. The steel core will probably have some decent penetration here. You can see the velocity is higher than the other version. And here at the fence, periodically you can find ammo from him. Now this is hollow points. They're going to be kind of meh too. And more, I think these are, there you go. A cartridge with special armor piercing bullets. So these are the kind of ammos that you want to look for if you're fighting a lot of armor targets. Now keep in mind, you're not going to be fighting non-stop armor targets, okay? And not everybody's going to be wearing armor. It's something to consider, but it's not something everybody's going to be wearing. 99% of the scavs are going to be in no armor or soft armor. Most of the players are probably going to be wearing, you know, medium armor and such along those lines. So it's not one of those things. It's like, oh, well, you know, I watched Pyro and he said if I don't have armor piercing bullets, then I'm just gonna get my ass destroyed. That's not always true. It just means you have to pick your fights if you can. If you see a full god tier armored, you know, stormtrooper running around and you've only got 9mm, you might want to avoid it. If you got lower velocity and non-armor piercing ammos, either aim for the legs, aim for the arms, aim for the side quarter, or don't engage that person. You know, some things to think about. So keep that in mind when you're fighting, guys. Like I said, there's a lot of work you can do with those guns. When you first start, the armor types are going to be tough to get, or the ammo types are going to be tough to get because you don't have the guys leveled up. So back to leveling these guys up again. Like I said, do your do the selling and the buying to the guys, and then the other thing is the tasks. These tasks are huge. They're a great way to increase your faction with or your standing with these different guys, which helps you out on your percentages, your discounts. Now keep in mind, you know, just because you do these missions, it's not going to necessarily give you everything. And some of these missions are hard. Some of these missions are timed. I guess right here we got 30 minutes to complete, and I haven't completed it yet, which means here in a minute when this cancels out, I'm going to lose faction with this guy. Thankfully, he already hates me. I think about as much as he can hate me, but you know, it's possible that he could actually charge me more than he normally does. So doing these missions, you come in here, you click on the task, click this. Right up here is a, what do you call it? An acceptance button. You click that, and then you basically just go get the stuff. Once you have the stuff, put it in your stash, and then you can click the buttons right here to turn it in. And then you will get a certain amount of experience, a certain amount of, you know, items, maybe gold, money, almost said gold, and a standing. So something to keep about it. And keep in mind, we gained 15%, but we lose 10%. So yeah, that's going to suck. And I don't know if there's any way for me to get that before this time goes, especially since we're going to be making this video. All right, so that's enough talking for the most part. One other thing I want to go over with you guys is when you go into these games, you are basically gambling with everything you've got or everything you're bringing with at the time. And this right here just goes to show that I was wrong about the SKS. You're going to notice this weapon right here is the base variant of the SKS, and it does have the EOTech hollow. On the front, it's got a laser sight and a silencer. We go ahead and pull this up. This is one of the things I can show you guys. You can see right here, this is the entire weapon loadout that we're rocking here. you can see it's got the difference between this one and the other variant is going to be this up here, this rail system up in the front. If we go back to the other version of the SKS, I might as well just bring that up here. Let's just drag up here, put it right here. You're going to notice a couple things. Number one, it takes up one more inventory slot right here. And that's because of the silencer on it. And then number two, if we pull up the modding here, you can see this does not have the rail. So the difference between these two systems is that one doesn't have the rail system. This one does. And that rail system allows you to equip everything. And kind of gives you an idea. You can change out the stocks. You got the magazines. You've got, the barrels. You've got barrel attachments. You've got uppers. You've got lowers. You've got iron sights, scopes. Just so much shit you can do in this game. It is very overwhelming at first. Honestly, it's complicated because, honestly, in my opinion, they went a little too far with it because it is frustratingly complicated sometimes. It's like, okay, I want an SKS and I just want to put a sight on it. Well, what sight works? Well, they don't tell you. So you kind of have to go through, look at the sights, find a rail system that works on the gun, put the rail system on. Okay, what works with this rail system? Oh, I'm not really sure. And then you kind of figure out through trial and error. Now, once you find a system that you like and that you can get frequently, like this one right here, it's like, oh, okay, this isn't a big deal. Now I know how it works. But until then, it is kind of frustrating because you can't just say, okay, I want an SKS. I'm going to go in here and just let me hook up the stuff. And again, with the stash stuff, I'm really hoping one of these days when you click on these buttons right here, that it just gets rid of everything else and only shows up. And I really, oh my God, please have a button I can click that just sorts everything for me. For the love of God. All right, so we're going to take a gun in that I don't care about all that terribly much. You know what? Let's do a silenced TT pistol. We pick a couple of these things up. We're not going to go into ham because the servers have been kind of wonky today. They are stress testing right now, which basically means there are more people trying to get on the servers than really can get on the servers at the moment. So it makes it a bit of a pain in the butt. So we're going to buy that. And then we're going to buy this. And then let's go get us some armor. I think he had... Oh, he had armor just a second ago and now he doesn't. Well, shit. Remember I was telling you guys this dude constantly changes his stuff? Yeah. They do have foldable stocks now. You're going to notice this Saiga has a foldable stock right here. I don't know if you guys can tell that, but that stock is foldable. The nice thing about that is you can unfold the stock for improved control and such. And then when you want to store it, you can fold the stock back up. I'm not sure exactly how to go about doing that because I don't think I have any weapons with folding stocks, but if I did, there's something to think about. You can also strip some of those things off while in the field. So for instance, if you're running around and, you want to get a few extra things and they've got some bonus stocks and stuff like that on them, you can sort that out. All right. So back to kind of discussing what I was just discussing. Everything you take in with you, you run the chance of losing. So for instance, one other thing, R does this. Just press R, and you can change it. Anything I bring in with me, I run the chance of losing, okay? So all of this stuff here that I'm going in with, if I die, is gone. Now, if I don't die, it comes with me, if I extract. So think of it that way. It's very Dark Souls-esque in that aspect, except you can't get back to your corpse. So if you see somebody with something you like, you can kill them, you can take it, and vice versa. So, you be very careful with what you take in. Don't take in, you kind of go with Eve rules. Don't take in anything you can't, risk to lose. This is your health system right here. It's going to show you, how you're doing. Each individual body part can take damage, can get hurt, can get quote unquote blacked out, legs can be broken, etc., etc. Here's your overall health. This is your water. I believe this is your food meter. Temperature, no, that's blood pressure right there. Yeah. Temperature, I believe radiation and biological. I'm not sure if they're going to use these. I'm assuming they're there for a reason, so they probably have some ideas for it. We're just going to go in with this for right now, just to kind of show you guys some basics. Keep in mind, I am going in with 0 armor, so the chances of me doing well, pretty low. Now, when you decide you want to go into Escape from Tarkov and actually play the mission, you have 2 options. You have PMC, which is your private military corporation character. That's the one where you pick the gear. That's the one that has all your stuff on it, etc., etc. The Scav, which is the one on the left, is a scavenger. It is a primarily NPC controlled faction, so to speak. When you see these guys in game, they're mainly NPCs and they have randomized gear. The scavengers, you only can use them once every 30 minutes. So we're going to start with him and we're going to go in. We are going to do factory. We're going to do factory during the day. Factory is one of the hotter spots in the game. Keep that in mind. And you're also going to want to take a look at this right here because this kind of lets you know where you can leave. So we can leave. This is the rough layout of the map here. We can leave right here in the gate. Apparently there's an exit through the office window, which I was unaware of. There's a gate here you can get out. There is a camera bunker down below here, which I've never used, and a few other spots. So we will actually take a look at this. I'm curious how this works. That's actually pretty damn cool. So always check these. These change periodically. This is one of the big changes that they did in the last beta cycle change is in the customs map. They gave you the option to spawn in different places. And if you spawn to the left, you had to exfil on the right. And if you spawn on the right, you had to exfil on the left. With factory, it's not really that big a deal, but some of the later maps, they have exits that require certain items. Like you might need a key to open one. So it gets rough. It gets frustrating. And you definitely want to know your exits. Now, one of the nice things is you can currently play in offline mode. Now, if you play in offline mode, you don't risk your scavenger, you don't risk your PMC, and you basically just get to rock and roll with NPCs if you choose them. All right, so we're in game. The spawn spot is fairly randomized. You do kind of learn the map and where you are over time. Okay. That was somebody running into what we call apartments. That's one of the exits. Oh, there he is. Did I get him? I don't know if I got him. I did. Okay. Wasn't sure if he was going to move around. I blasted his ass pretty good. Alright, we're going to take his gun. Thanks, Buckaroo. This is one of the other things that's really scary, especially doing it solo. You can see right here, I can't just see what he has. There we go. You have to search it. Sorry, I thought I heard somebody coming up. You have to search it. Shit! Okay, can we shut this door? Close. Fuck! Ow! I don't have any meds on me. I have a bandage. Okay, thank you. Let's use that. Do we get the new gun in? Yeah, we do. We got 2 mag. Okay. Alright, well. Dickbag McGee wants to come in here and play. We can play. And you can see my chest is fucked up. I am bleeding from a fresh wound. That will continue. Where is he? Whoa. Right. Surprise, motherfucker. Reload. Alright, so cycling out my ammo up here. Keep in mind, if you have a tac rig, you have to use that to eat. Shit. He doesn't actually see me, he's just... Oh my god. He's actually shooting through the wall here? Whoop. Fuck! I got the first one, I'm pretty sure. But I think the second one got me. Now, those were NPCs. Those were not players. Now, you can see I got 944 experience, and my raid time was 2 minutes, 15 seconds. I did get the first guy. So this is the dude we shot in the head. He was the one opening the door. Scavenger, not a player. Gary Kopachekny. This was the first dude who opened the door. And this is the second dude who I popped up, shot, and then hit the buddy behind him shot me. You can see this was at the exact end of our time. 2 minutes, 15 seconds. And I basically, either he killed me or there was a guy behind him. Pretty sure it was the guy behind him. Now, since you can see right here, this is how much blood I lost. 0.03 liters. Whew. That sounds like a lot. What is that? It's not 30% of a liter. That's probably okay, maybe not. I don't know how much, like, I know we have like, what, 8 pints of blood? And I don't know pints to liters off the top of my head. So I honestly have no idea if that's a lot or a little. We had lost, I think that was our chest and or stomach. As your chest or stomach gets hurt, you start losing water and food, and, you know, bad things happen. If you get shot in the legs, it slows you down. Painkillers can counteract some of that stuff. We were in the process of looting 1 body, found 1 weapon. We found 73 amp. Was it really that much? That was only like 4 magazines. 8 times 4. It's not 70. Was it 5 magazines? I mean, that's still 40 plus the ones in the shame is 48. No. There must have been stuff I didn't see. Either that or it's counting all of the bodies I dropped. I'm not sure. You can see your damage dealt, how many times you hit. Now, with shotguns, keep in mind, shotguns are on a per pellet basis, it seems. So you shoot one person one time, you get a bunch of different hits. That doesn't mean you actually, because we only fired, I think it was 3 shots that whole round. So there were pellets, you know, it was buckshot. If you're using a pistol or something along those lines, you're going to get some different variations. And down here is very important. You can see we killed 0 to 10 level players, 3. Scavs killed 3. So that means everybody we killed was an NPC. It will break these down into PMC variations. So you'll have like bears or USACs, and you can see if you actually killed players. The exception to that is player-controlled scavs. Now, I was possessing a scav right there. And so by possessing a scav, I'm technically an NPC. So it does kind of skew the numbers. This was our first implementation of PvP like that, so we can actually see. We don't know yet. So I'm assuming later on it'll get easier and easier. All right, we're gonna do one more run with our private military corp. Same basic map, same general setup, except we don't have a shotgun this time. Now let's talk about insurance. Insurance is something that you can pick up if you want to. What does insurance basically do? Your thought of what insurance is, and most people's thoughts on what insurance are and what Tarkov's thoughts are totally different. So when you insure, you're basically saying, hey, I want you to come get my shit when I die. And this guy agrees to send some of his people to do it. The problem is, this is a full loot PvP type game. So if you were to insure my stuff, and let's say you insure me for 100%, right? I die, you give me my stuff back. Well, Bob killed me and he looted my stuff. Well, technically there could be a small exploit there where me and Bob go into map together. I insure my stuff, Bob shoots me, Bob gets my stuff, I get my stuff back, and then we reinsure. Now, obviously you could fix that by making insurance cost more than the gear. But even then, you know, there's some possible rooms to exploit based on certain, you know, item combinations and things along those lines. So the way insurance works in Tarkov is they can find your stuff if nobody takes it out. So if Bob kills you and then Bob dies, or Bob, you know, gets into a firefight and can't get your stuff, or Bob is full, doesn't want your stuff, etc., etc. If your stuff stays in your body, then it will show up in this one, it's what, 12 to 36 hours, I think it is, 24 to 36 hours. Definitely not right away, sadly. So in a day to a day and a half from now, randomly, you'll get a message down here in the bottom right. You click on Prapor right here, and you can see they're off looking for us. So keep that in mind. So it's not a guaranteed thing. Why is that a good or a bad thing? On certain bigger maps, it's actually not that bad. On Factory, it kind of sucks because you're pretty much guaranteed to be looted. So if you know, you're going in, I wouldn't do it on Factory. If you're going in on Customs, there's a possibility your stuff might still be there. It really just depends. And not only that, according to a friend of mine, the stuff doesn't even have to stay on your body. So what a lot of people will do if they can't carry it is they'll pick the stuff off the body, move it into the bushes, drop it next to the body, hidden, and then people that see the body later will find it's empty and not check the bushes. Don't hold me to that, because that seems silly to me, but that's just what I was told. I haven't actually tested that myself. All right, we're in. Ooh, all right. I changed my FOV from the default to, I think it was 75, which is the maximum. Okay, we got somebody out to my left. And, okay, they're up above. We're gonna rush it. I know where he's at. This is the... Okay, he's down. We'll come back to that guy here in a minute. Alright, he's down. Some James Bond shit. Alright. One of the things you're going to check is this thing right here. There's some loot in here. Usually it's money. Definitely worth picking up. And definitely put that in your stash there. You can't lose your stash here. Okay. Now, this is why I never play this game solo. If I can help it. But you're playing it solo right now. Yeah, I know. And it got me killed last time, didn't it? When you loot, you have to search. You can't just open it up and be like, fuck. That right there. That right there is why. Because you can't just pick it up and look. Right? So, you know, you gotta search each individual container and people walk quietly sometimes. And it's kind of a bitch. That was a player scav, I think. Actually, no. Appetite, that would be a player. Because, you know, it's not that. I'm very proud of those 2 headshots, by the way. Alright, we're going to do another run. And we're going to do a run, what we call a hatchling run. Now, as a new player, you're going to be doing a lot of these. And I'm doing this run so I can show you I want to try and show you extraction if I can. And I forgot to mention this right here. This right here is your, yours will probably be smaller. I think it's 4 for a default player. For one of the smaller packages. For the bigger players, it's bigger. So that's the storage space you'll be left with. Anything that's in here, you can't lose on death. So I did get to keep those rubles even though, you know, I got killed. You also won't lose what's in your scabbard. You can switch to a tomahawk if you want by picking one off somebody. And from what I understand, tomahawks are superior weapons. Now, hatchling runs are frustrating, and hatchling runs are completely RNG. And what I mean by that is you might go up against 4 completely geared out, tricked out players, or you might go up against nobody. And by nobody, I mean like nobody well geared, just a bunch of other hatchlings. We got into a game on frickin' customs where it was like 8 hatchlings, and we had one guy with a gun, and it was disgusting because the hatchlings were just rushing us in way, just a wall of noobs, and it was just like drop, and they almost got our gun guy. It was just crazy. So hatchets are very much lethal weapons. A lot of people will kind of talk down on them, but if you can get to where you can hit somebody in the head with one, it is a one shot. Obviously, if they're not wearing armor. There's one right there. Jesus. That's another hatchling right there. He's going down. Don't really care about him. Somebody threw a grenade over there. I definitely don't want to deal with that. We're going up. That's an auto weapon, so that is definitely a player. Dude's coming up behind me. One other thing. I'm scrolling my mouse here. See how slowly I'm walking? That makes almost no noise. You can also press caps lock to instantly go from full to slow. You want to do that a lot. And you... Okay, somebody's right outside the window. Oh! How much damage did I do to that? This is Lil Thug Nasty. Yeah, Lil Thug Nasty did me nasty. How much damage did I do to him? Really? I was pretty sure we got our swing off first. I'm a little disappointed by that. Now this does bring us to one of the kind of bad aspects of the game. Currently there is only one data center. It's in Europe. Hoping in the future that they add more. The development company for this is Russian. So they're obviously over in the European side of things. That means if you're over here in the United States, you're going to have slightly higher pings than traditional first-person shooters. And there is the occasional desync issue. I've had a couple issues recently where I breached that room right there that we went into, and there was a hatchling sitting on the other side of the door, and I put 2 shotgun blasts into his face, point-blank range, saw the blood splatter animation, and the guy stepped out and one-shot me with his axe. So, you know, it does happen every once in a while. Usually it's only a problem in, you know, hatchling versus hatchling, or you know, no armor, hatchling runs, and things like that. Every once in a while, it is going to cost you a suit of armor. So keep that in mind. You know, it is, again, a beta game right now. Yes, they're charging money for it. He's above. I think. Okay. Holy shit. This is bathrooms? Now, listen to the sounds as we're roaming around. There's somebody in here with me. Really? Did I get the hit there? Please tell me I got the hit there. I did not. I'm very sad about that. I'm very sad about that. So, hatchling runs, you're going to run into situations like what we just did, where you're going to go on dying streaks for a long time. You know, it only takes you getting one scav down once you've got a pistol. You saw how easy I was able to take out both of those guys with just one simple pistol. Headshots are a great equalizer. Granted, 9mm versus some of the higher armor variants are going to, you know, have less of a chance at doing things, but we didn't run into a single armored opponent in those 3 runs that we just did. Everybody was running the Santa hats, which are cute and all that, but they're definitely not armor. You can actually do better. Keep in mind, factory is very dense. It's very tight. The other zones like customs, etc., are almost better because they're bigger. And while there are more people that play on those, there's also more scavs. And the scavs, you know, once you learn to break line of sight with them, once you learn to use foliage and things like that, they almost can't kill you. One other thing I did want to point out here before we end the video is time. You can select either of these times that you want. Customs, you know, you can do this right here at nighttime if you want. This is damn near midnight. This is almost noon. You run around with night vision here. It gives you a massive advantage. Get yourself a nice silenced weapon with a decent scope. You can go in and you can farm scavs until you're filthy rich. Go in with a squad. You can have 6 to 12 people in customs. Okay, so that's 6 to 12 players. You can invite your buddies. So where is it? Right here. You can get all your buddies into this screen right here. You just type in their name here. If they're in this screen, they'll show up, and you can go in with 5. You go in 5 people out of a maximum of 12. That means you have almost half of the zone yourself. And then you just basically keep count. And once you've killed, you know, 7 players, you know, you're not going to be running into any more geared players. You're going to run into some player scavs, but player scavs are going to have random weapons, and they're not really going to be able to compete against a, you know, fairly decent crew. Assuming you guys at that point are not full geared, you can roam around the zone, wiping out scavs, wiping out all the loot spots, come back, sell your shit, and, you know, it only takes a couple good loot runs to basically finance a lot of solo runs. So, and then keep in mind, you know, I highly recommend you find a couple people to play with. My community, you know, if that's something you want to do, discord.gg/pyrostasis. You can also get there by going to my Twitch channel and typing !Discord. We've got, I think at the moment, there's like 5 of us in the community right now that are playing. Next week when open beta goes up, the people that are still holdouts are going to be able to try out the game. And I expect to have about half of our regulars playing this game pretty regularly starting about a week from now. So, you know, get in, find you some friends, you know, watch each other's backs. Because like I showed you in this video, you know, anytime you go to loot a corpse, you're in trouble because anybody can push you. You're not going to be able to see. Your face is down. And by the time, you know, you hear them coming, by the time you get up, they've already got you dead in the sights. And it just takes a second. But if you've got 2 of you or 3 of you, you know, 2 have got security while you loot, and then you just swap and take turns. And that way most people can loot, get in and out safely. Always take medication with you. That's the only other real big tip I think I can give you. Buy IFAKs from him right here. Buy an IFAK, and then from the therapist, carry 2 painkillers. Especially on bigger maps, carry 2, maybe 3, because I think they last for, it's like 5 minutes. once that timer's out, basically when your legs are blacked out, you walk at like that slow pace I was showing you in that little second floor room. With painkillers, you can move at normal speed for the duration. Morphine can do the exact same thing, but it lasts longer and is drastically more expensive. You can see this is worth $52.50. This is worth $6.90. So, you know, definitely bring yourself some painkillers. Definitely bring yourself an IFAK. Keep them in your little pouch, and then put them on your, on your hot bars when you're ready to go. And that I don't know if I mentioned this before, but we're gonna do it real quick. When you have a gun and you want to reload it, you need to have some form of rig. Now that Scav vest I bought, that was real cheap. That's a basic rig. You can put all your stuff in here. You can put a Salua. Rotate that. You can put a Salua in here. But you have to have an open slot. So when you press R in game, it's going to dump one and then pick one out of this one of these slots, and it'll always pull your most full. You keep your ammo here, you drag it over, refill your magazine, and then you're good to go. And you press R again, and you'll reload. If you do not have a tactical rig, then in combat you're going to have to unload. Assuming you even can. You can see right here, we don't have room to unload because it won't do it into our pouch. So we literally can't unload this fucking weapon. Now, if I had a backpack, it would put the round in my, or the mag in my backpack. Then you could reload it, then slap it back in. But very similar to the issue with looting by yourself, if you're doing that, that's going to take you 4 or 5 seconds as opposed to a 2-second reload. While you're doing that, that guy's advancing on you, you're taking more rounds, you're getting, receiving more damage, etc., etc. So get you at least a Scav vest. It'll act as a tac rig. You can put your stuff in there and it'll save your ass. So that will definitely help you out. Run your tasks that I was telling you about. These will drastically help all your other stuff. And hopefully just enjoy the damn game. Keep in mind, you're going to die a lot. You're going to lose a lot of stuff. And then you're going to have days where you go on win streaks where you don't lose shit and you just destroy everyone and you've got more stuff than you know what to do with. And, that's happened last beta phase. We were basically trying to suicide to lose stuff, and we kept ending up killing people with full loot runs. And it was just like, God dang it, man. So, it seems harsh when you first start off, but as you acquire a few pieces of equipment, it gets easier. If you've got at least 1 or 2 friends, it gets drastically easier. So squad up, find you some friends, and I think you'll have a better time with it. So right now the game's on sale for 25% off for, I believe, till January 4th. So it's 44.99 euros minus 25%. I think it's about 35 bucks. Definitely worth it at that price point. I think this is going to be a big hit next year, 2018, when it finally drops. And I think it's going to be huge. So let me know what you guys think. If you have any questions, concerns, issues, comments about the game, please let me know in the comment section below. As always, if you like this video, please slap that like button. Make sure you subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next clip.